Dude!
What you doing? Yo.
Oh, hey, what's going on, guys? Glad you can join me. Sorry, I was reading my Nikola Tesla book. You know, it's pretty awesome. A lot of words, but some pictures in there.
Mostly pictures, right?
Welcome everybody else. Huh? Lots of pictures?
Yeah, mostly pictures.
I can't understand a book unless it has pictures in it. Welcome everybody to the Weird Couch. I am EQ. This is Joe, and that is Kris. Wait, no, I got that backwards. This is Joe. That is Kris. Yes. So last week we had some fun. It was Halloween. Hope you enjoyed the Halloween special. But we are back on your regularly scheduled program to talk about things that interest us and that we feel is important conversations and all that good stuff. And today we are talking about Nikola Tesla and Elon Musk.
Damn it, EQ.
I kind of
EQ,
pretty much.
EQ. I'm gonna need you to lift up your spirits now. You're kind of dead.
Yes! Yes! Lift up my spirits because I am super freaking tired. It is early in the morning. Thank you, Joe, for that boost of energy that I got going. And speaking of energy, the reason we're going to be talking about these guys is because a lot of people don't know about Nikola Tesla. They know a little bit more about Elon Musk, but still not a lot of people, who are not interested in these kinds of things would know about it. And we want to bring it to the forefront of your brain. So, real quick, what do you guys know about Nikola Tesla? Kris?
Well, he's the guy that, he was an inventor. I do know that he was an immigrant himself who came to this country, worked underneath Thomas Edison, who was a pretty decent inventor in his own right. He pioneered a lot of things in the realm of wireless electricity, and was even rumored to create a perpetual energy machine, which may or may not have been confiscated by some people, with some power.
Them bigwigs always trying to come in and steal your shit.
Right?
What about you, Joe? What do you know about Nikola Tesla?
The extent of my knowledge for Nikola Tesla, what's his name? T-E-S-L-A? Tesla?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, you had to look at the book yourself. Look, I saw you. So
I had to double check. You're like, what is he trying to spell here? I don't.
The extent of my knowledge on this man is very shallow. Y'all gonna be schooling me today. That information about the wireless thing, hey, that sounds like amazing. And the fact that the government probably came in and swooped up his technology is so plausible. So I'm interested. I'm gonna be learning today, absorbing some knowledge.
He ended up moving into New York way back in the day, 1901 or something like that. And he was an inventor. He was an oddball inventor. He tended to think about problems and ideas differently than Einstein and Edison and all those people. Einstein wanted to, work out the problem physically and do all that kind of stuff. And even though he did his thought experiments, Nikola Tesla, proverbially, no, that's not how you say the word.
Proverbially.
How you say the word?
Proverbially? Yeah.
So yeah, just fucked everybody up.
It's a weird word.
Yes, it is. It's an extremely weird word. He tended to look at ideas very abstractly, and he was basically a weirdo in the science community. A lot of people didn't take him seriously, and the stuff that he did was not being done necessarily by anybody else. Wireless electricity, and
my bad, that wasn't me.
I was like, that's not me. And so a big portion, we're just going to jump straight to this one big thing, is the Warden Cliff Towers in New York. The Warden Cliff Tower. He had tried to get, he had gotten funding from Morgan and Stanley, actually, and the actual Morgan from Morgan and Stanley to build this tower. And it was supposed to be for radio transmission and stuff, but then Tesla wanted to get more funding, and Morgan wasn't having it. What happened to the project, the money that I initially gave you, and because of the 1901 scare that went on, the basically a stock market crash that was caused by Morgan and Stanley. That was Tesla's reason why it had not been finished, and he was trying to get more money. He ended up finishing the project and like building it, but he wanted to build it bigger, and so he kept petitioning for more money. And then that whole project got scrapped. And if you should definitely Google and look into Wardenclyffe Towers, because Tesla has said, hey, guess what? Not only can I, this can this be used as like a radio tower, but I can also transmit electricity to everybody for free. A lot of his experiments caused a lot of chaos around town. 100 miles away, horses, getting ready or leaving the stable, power converters being blown, things like that, because he would do these experiments. He was working on his coils, which have become known as Tesla coils. I'm pretty sure everybody, even you, Joe, have seen a Tesla coil. And has anybody seen that movie, The Sorcerer's Apprentice?
No, I have the movie, and I have not seen it.
I think it's a good movie, but there's a scene in there that is just, I think it's great, because basically the main character gets in the center, into the center of this like giant circle inside a Faraday cage, and he has these giant Tesla coils, and he turns on the Tesla coils, and as they are going off, in the movie, I don't know if it really does this. I'm pretty sure that it can be done. Electricity makes sound, and if you time it out just right or have a setup just right, you can create music. Well, of course, it starts to make music, and then the song comes on, and it's a pretty amazing scene. Not just because of how it was filmed, but imagine being inside a Faraday cage and having these giant coils, Tesla coils, like shooting electricity at you, like how intense that would be. But yes, the sad part about Tesla is he died a penniless, lonely guy in the New York hotel.
I don't know if I would call him penniless if he could afford to live in several different hotels in New York City. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, according to the history books, he was penniless in the sense, he was poor. So maybe he was squatting. Yes, there we go. I will take that picture that Joe has, and I'll put it up over Joe's face right here. Those are Tesla coils, and you've seen them in other movies and possibly even talked about them in school. But the sad part is Tesla does not get talked about. It doesn't get taught really, and that's a sad thing. Before we move on to Elon Musk, does anybody have any viewpoints? I know, Joe, you said you didn't know a lot about Tesla.
So this dude.
So Kris.
I got a question, y'all. Since y'all supposed to be
Okay, you got a
schooling me
question.
on this
We got
Nikola
questions.
this guy. Okay, so he had experience with electricity. Does he have a profound experiment that he's should be known for, besides these coils or anything?
I know that he
Earth resonance frequency. He thought that he could transmit signals, electricity, communication through the actual Earth itself without the need for wires or copper.
Yeah, his I would say as far as invention, it was the AC motor. So the change from the DC motor to the AC motor, that was Tesla.
Okay, so DC to AC.
Yeah.
Direct
so from
current.
double current to single current. Yeah.
Is it double or
alternate?
double?
Well,
Alternate current,
here it's
direct
saying
current.
change from double current
Yeah,
to
DC
single
is
current.
direct current and it's
And then
low voltage. AC is alternating current, higher voltages.
Yeah. But it says in the book here, freaking change from double current to single current motor. This whole book, this entire book is the inventions, researches, and writings of Nikola Tesla. So there's, I don't know, I guess to say if there was one particular thing, the whole AC thing is the only thing that really gets talked about. But
That
you got
basically changed the whole world,
rotating
though.
magnetic.
I mean, everything works on AC now, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like, if this is how the world works, then how come people don't? How come Tesla is not a household name like Einstein? It is now because of the car, because of Tesla Motors, which is named after him. And I know that Elon Musk has gotten a lot of inspiration from Tesla, because of the concept, his idea of he wanted to help the world. What else? The Tesla polyphase transformer. The Tesla induction motor. Alternating AC generators. AC electronic induction apparatus. I mean, and that's just on his inventions.
He was also trying to sell the United States government something called the Teleforce weapon, which was basically like charged particles through the air that they'd be able to direct towards, like, say, enemies. And it was kind of like a focused energy, like particle beam kind of a thing. I mean, it's really amusing, kind of cartoonish words to describe it, but for lack of actual terminology, that's
So he could have been make people superheroes. So he could have been like the Tony Stark with his little.
Well, yeah, to a degree, he could probably either like microwave you or make you shit your pants from a mile away with this weapon.
Thor and his hammer, right? He's shooting off electricity. So basically, he was the low-key superhero or Tony Stark of his time.
He was the bravest, certainly, because he was doing things going off of, the beaten path, so to speak, whereas scientists at the time were kind of taking baby steps. He was having these large ideas in his mind and just go ahead and building these things, and even though there might have been like dangerous implications, he was kind of daring, which is why he's such a polarizing figure.
Okay, so did he get paid for all this, or you said he was broke? So did he actually get money for all this besides none of it? And just got an old broke man that hated life and changed the world?
My understanding is that he ended up with some kind of money because he had invented things that were patented that were used for conventional use. So whether he was poor or not, I think that's debatable.
Yeah, no, I was looking up because you top 10 lists, things like that, and you were talking about like his inventions and to have a more structured viewpoint on how to say this. So of course the number one is the alternating current. That's where it all began. And was it? It's what caused a stir. That's what I was trying to remember, and I couldn't remember it. Is at the 1893 World's Expo in Chicago. Is where the whole AC thing came about. The second one was it says light, and it says, of course Nikola Tesla didn't invent light itself, but he did invent how light can be harnessed and distributed. Tesla developed and used fluorescent bulbs in his lab some 40 years before the industry invented them. At the World's Fair, Tesla took glass tubes and bent them into famous scientists' names, in effect creating the first neon signs. And then, of course, the Tesla coil is certainly something that the big industry would have liked to suppress. The concept that the Earth itself is, and this is what Kris was talking about, is a magnet that can generate electricity, electromagnetism, utilizing frequencies as a transmitter. All that is needed on the other end is the receiver, much like a radio. He did X-rays, radio, remote control, electric motors, robotics, the laser, Sonorous laser defense systems today's Orwellian non-lethal weapons arsenal, which includes
and then in terms
directed
of
energy death rays, yeah,
and then in terms of immediate impact to our civilization as we stand today, he's also the patent holder and inventor of alternating current generators. So any hospital, any building of significance, when the power grid fails, typically will have an AC generator wired to the facility to keep it running, and Tesla gets kudos for that too.
Okay, so I got
and this should be more widely known.
One more question for y'all.
Okay, real quick before you ask that question, I want to, because it made total sense. As the 9 and 10, I think, from my point of view, the biggest contribution that Tesla was having, but didn't really come to light and hasn't really been embraced because of bigger entities is his wireless communications and limitless free energy.
Limitless.
Yeah. So what it says is these two are inextricably linked, as they were the last straw for the power elite. What good is energy if it can't be metered and controlled? Free? Never. J.P. Morgan backed Tesla. It was $150,000 to build the Wardenclyffe Tower that I was talking about earlier. That would use natural frequencies of our universe to transmit data, including a wide range of information communicated through images, voice messages, and text. This represented the world's first wireless communication, but it also meant that aside from the cost of the tower itself, the universe was filled with free energy that could be utilized to form a worldwide web connecting all people in all places. And that got shut down like super quick because of the power of the elite.
Well, yeah, exactly. The elite, J.P. Morgan went ahead and pulled their funding. So to wrap up the whole Tesla thing, EQ and I were kind of chatting about it yesterday after we got off. It's kind of ironic and it's kind of funny, and I feel like it illustrates how small the circle is of the
elite.
You're
gonna love this show.
And so as small as the powers are currently, the group of powers, the elite, the 1%ers, as they talk about on television right now, that group was just as small back then, and which is really funny because what kind of brought that to light was we're chatting and researching, and we're looking into Tesla's death, right? So what happened after he died? Well, after he died, the FBI, they came in and they hired a physicist who was also an electrical engineer to come in and confiscate all of Tesla's belongings, and then kind of comb through them, see if there was anything that was beneficial, relevant, that kind of deal. And I believe they did find some things. I can't exactly recall what application we kind of use those things for now. However, the interesting part is that the individual that was hired by the FBI was an individual by the name of John Trump. His brother.
Mm-hmm. Look at Joe's face. He's intrigued.
John Trump's education was funded by his brother, an individual named Fred. Fred Trump is the father of the Republican nominee for the president, Donald J. Trump. So there you go, a little bit of connect the dots. Isn't that crazy? So yeah. So as much as they want to say this guy, he represents us, this is he's a common person. That family's roots go so deep into the elite structure that there's no way that he could relate to everyday people. But anyway,
if I disappear, it's because of this video.
I didn't bring up the subject.
Anyhow,
don't make me disappear.
Nah. But yeah, so anyway, we just found that really interesting because it's like, what a small world, what a small civilization that, the same people that were polarizing, then are still the same families that are polarizing now. So, anyway.
I got my one question before we move on. My bad.
Yeah.
So,
go for it.
All these people who are like major inventors, like back in the day, you got your, it's early in the morning, so y'all got to forgive me. My brain is not firing on all cylinders. Why can't I remember this dude's name? E equals MC squared. Why can't I remember his name? It's early in the morning.
Einstein.
Thank you. God. Okay, so Einstein, Tesla. Y'all leave me alone. It's early as shit. Tesla. Anybody who thought outside the box. They were always thought to be weird, right? Weird.
Yeah.
Do you think he had like Asperger's? Was he smoking weed to think outside the box? Do you think he had some form of major mind altering thing to maybe slow his mind down? Because a lot of people who think like on big levels and are constantly moving and thinking and processing have to slow their head down, their brain.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe he was like?
That is a great question.
So according
Einstein,
to a quick Google search, a quick Google search says that Nikola Tesla's main vice was a gambling addiction, and that at one point he had actually gone through all of his investment money for his experiments.
Gambling.
Yeah, he burned through it gambling. So
maybe that's why he was penniless.
Yeah,
that was his thing.
Yeah, some people choose alcohol or yeah.
Yeah. So again, I don't know if Tesla did have a different vice other than gambling, like drugs or something like that. But it has been theorized because Einstein he did what he described as thought experiments, and he'd just sit in his chair smoking a pipe. Everybody says typically with tobacco, and he'd sit there for hours and just think about things. That's where he came up with the E=mc². The famous. He was thinking about riding a bicycle along parallel with a beam of light, and had this entire thought process. That's it. Nothing else. No writing anything down. Whatever. And a lot of people have theorized that he did actually do drugs. I don't know if it was like weed or something else at the time, to help him get into a state of mind that elevated his thought process. Because, and this is kind of delving off a little into the deep end, and we'll come back to the shallow end in a little bit, but there's two things. One, DMT. Joe Rogan's talked about it. It's a naturally occurring chemical in your brain. It's what helps you get to sleep, it kind of paralyzes your body, and then you have those trippy dreams. It's because of this dimethyltryptamine or something. I can't pronounce it, so I'll put the word up right here.
It's also the chemical that's prevalent when you take a hallucinogen like mushrooms or LSD.
Okay.
Anyway,
yes.
Go ahead.
It is prevalent in a lot of psychedelics, like you were saying. And it was all, the theory is that he had access to what is known as the Akashic field. Have you guys ever heard of the Akashic field?
Never heard of it.
It is a really good read. It's one of those reads that you would have to definitely have an open mind and kind of step outside of your particular viewpoint on certain things.
Just a real quick. Thomas Edison was a cokehead. Sigmund Freud was a cokehead. Francis Crick,
Watson and Crick,
who envisioned the double helix structure for DNA. Yep. LSD. Let's see.
Also,
this guy, Weirdos, he was also a tweak. Steve Jobs, LSD. Bill Gates, LSD. Let's see. The pioneer of electronic brain stimulation, he was LSD. See,
I love Richard Feynman.
LSD, marijuana, ketamine. Let's see.
See, but no, not just drugs, because it's rumored or speculated that Albert Einstein, he had Asperger's, which is the autism spectrum disorder, and Sir Isaac Newton as well had diagnosed with possible Asperger's, or what we call Asperger's now. So, and as we know, Asperger's, they have that one thing they're good at and they excel at, and they just blow the world out with it. So it could be movies or science or whatever, and they just excel.
Yeah, and I'm glad that's a good point that you brought up for the Asperger's, and I totally forgot about that once I got onto the DMT and the Akashic field, because those are things that I read in my own time. But yeah, a lot of these people have, and this is what people don't. I don't think mainstream that people understand that a lot of the people that have made changes. Significant changes in like music and cinema and the sciences and for the world do have a mental disorder. And I think we did a video a while back about mental disorders because there's a lot of stigmatism to that. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to point out that a lot of the people that have shaped the way the world runs and the way that America runs have been diagnosed with some form of mental disorder, and they still accomplished amazing things in their lifetime. So with that being said, we're going to jump into Elon Musk. Okay, if you don't know Elon Musk, then you should stop. You should push pause on this video and go do some Google search and check out Elon Musk. Yeah, and if you've been under a rock, basically, what is he? He started with PayPal. and then he and XCOM and something else, and then he moved on to SpaceX. It's all over the news with their launches because they finally had a successful launch like a month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that, of an unmanned rocket taking off, delivering its payload, and then landing is the whole concept, so that you don't need astronauts to do this anymore. You can just do this like a drone, like a rocket drone. And then just a couple days ago, he unveiled his Solar City basic idea. Solar City is a company, and they developed these solar panels, these roof solar panels, that don't look like solar panels. So you can buy a house, and the house will be completely run off of solar energy. These panels, and I'll find some pictures here, are made to look like a normal roof. And so when you look at them at like an angle, you wouldn't see that there's a solar panel there. But then, bam, there you go. And he just unveiled it. I'll put a link down to the video in the description below. He has these things. These things are amazing, and I'll let Kris and Joe talk about this next thing. Gigafactories. Okay, gigafactories, which I think is an amazing thing. He has Tesla motors, of course, electric cars, but I think the biggest thing for Elon Musk that we should talk about in conjunction with Nikola Tesla is this whole free energy thing, and Elon Musk is doing some amazing things.
Gigafactories.
Yeah, the Gigafactory. Okay, so, I mean, I was first introduced to the idea of Gigafactories through watching the National Geographic documentary titled Before the Flood with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he's taking a tour of a Gigafactory with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk goes ahead and describes the situation for him. Basically, with 100 of these factories built and producing goods for this revolutionary method of creating electricity, that we can make the planet self-sustainable, we can eliminate the carbon footprint, we can, in essence, stop our contribution to the degradation of our ozone layer and the, essentially the killing of our planet with the building of 100 of these gigafactories. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, except for these gigafactories are 15 million square feet and have the largest footprint, meaning would take up the largest amount of flat physical space on the ground, the largest footprint of any structure known to man currently. So while 100 buildings doesn't sound like a large undertaking, it is actually an enormous undertaking because of the scale of these buildings. However, that kind of sounds like a pretty fair trade-off for making the entire planet energy sustainable.
How would it make it energy sustainable? I mean, what energy would you use? It's a gigafactory. What energy?
So it's batteries.
Batteries.
Well, the gigafactory is producing the goods for this new generation of homes to be built. These gigafactories would then be producing the solar panel roof shingles that EQ was just describing. They would be producing the lithium-ion battery banks
called
for each home.
The Powerwall. It's a Tesla home battery.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and I'm sure that there's many other innovative products being created there. But just talking about those two items independently of everything else, if we're able to use our roofs to channel solar energy for our own use in the home, there's also high likelihood that we would also be providing enough electricity to help power our cities. Even now, currently, people that use just very basic solar panels and battery bank systems in their homes oftentimes end up selling energy back to their governing energy company. So if you can imagine entire neighborhoods outfitted with these devices, I mean, essentially we would eliminate power companies altogether. Now that's where it gets dangerous, right? Because those companies are taxed heavily, by our local governments, and they have a lot of control over basically they know how much money to expect yearly from these accounts. So it would in essence be eliminating. It would eliminate a market. It would eliminate an entire line of employment for people. So I mean, there's definitely some complications there. But then again, how many people could a 15 million square foot building employ? I'm guessing it's quite a few.
Yeah.
So
I think where you were possibly going elsewhere with that question is the gigafactories are all solar-based factories, and so their carbon footprint is like nothing almost, or minimal, I should say, because it is based on the same technology that the gigafactory would be creating to sustain the world and stuff like that. And like Kris was saying, right now, solar panels, people with solar panels, they feed back into the energy grid, and what happens is it comes down to being like a discount. So let's say your energy bill is $100 a month. You put on some solar panels, and you give back 50% of your total consumption back into the power grid. So then that's a 50% discount on your bill. So now you're down to $50, right? And that's like in the first month or something like that. But over time, more energy is going to be stored and given back to the grid. And eventually, there's some people that just don't have a power bill anymore. They don't have an electric bill, because every month their solar panels feed so much energy back into the grid that they end up not owing those electric companies. And like Kris said, it's hugely dangerous to the money that lines these people's pockets. And staying away from like a conspiracy theory mindset, I can totally understand from a business sense.
I love conspiracy.
I do too. They're great conversation, and people hear the term conspiracy theory and like immediately shut their brains down. Like, oh nope, can't do that because people judge people who talk about those things, and they're all weirdos and stuff. And it's like, you know what? I think we've come so far as humans and as Americans that the idea that we cannot have a conversation about a conspiracy theory is asinine. We have conversations about everything else almost. Why should conspiracy theories be left out of the conversational pool? That just shows ignorance to me.
Well, and I'll say, let me go ahead and piggyback on that, and I'll say, in a world or in a country where it's proven now, and this is public knowledge, and this has been all over the news during this election cycle, that the Democratic National Committee colluded amongst themselves and media outlets to go ahead and preemptively crown Hillary Clinton as their nominee. Not to turn this into a political segment, however, that by definition is a conspiracy. So by not acknowledging that conspiracy theories exist, and I'm talking to you, the watcher at home, the person viewing this, they exist. Conspiracies exist. They are things that are real. If you don't believe in that, then I think you have to do some inner searching to kind of see where your line of critical thought has been, stifled. Anyhow, and then expanding on this conspiracy theory thing, right? This is the United States of America. They're not going to do anything to lose money, okay? So while 100 gigafactories, again, seems like a pretty lofty kind of a deal considering their footprint and how large they are. And I just mean footprint, not carbon footprint. I mean footprint in terms of how much land they would occupy. But the cost of a gigafactory, the cost of a gigafactory for the one that they had just recently bought was $451 million. Now, this sounds like a lot of money, except for there's over 200 sports stadiums in the United States of America. The modern sports stadium costs anywhere between $500 million and $1 billion. So, for instance, up here in the great state of Washington, our Seattle Seahawks, they play in a $450 million stadium that's owned by the 42nd wealthiest individual on the planet Earth. And of that $450 million, he only paid $150 million of it. The rest of that money is coming out of the pockets of you, hardworking Seattle residents. So if there's any kind of conspiracy to be had, is that they'll go ahead and tell you that this isn't doable, but they're doing it every year, and they're adding taxes to the local residents that live in these places for sports team stadiums. So you can't say that we can't afford it, because in essence, if we're willing to sacrifice a little bit of leisure, we can save the fucking planet.
Well said, my friend. Well said.
Yes, hold on. Let me. We got it. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Slow clap.
I thought his video stopped
Golf
recording
clap.
and he was doing a sound spike again. That's why I only did the
It's
one.
recording. That was all last night. So there were so many technical difficulties last night when we were trying to record. It was ridiculous. I mean, my MacBook Air decided it wanted to shit the bed. Not once, not twice, but like 10 times. It was ridiculous.
It was so many times.
So now I'm on the iMac. Yay.
There you go.
So much fucking Apple going on around here. I should shoot myself.
Here's the question for you, Joe, in the Side Tech channel.
Absolutely.
With everything that we just talked about and what you've learned about where everything started from and where it's come to with Elon Musk and the gigafactories and things like that. For the individual, for the layman, for the people who are, what do they call them? Not the 99%. What do you think the cost of this would be for them? Just off the top of your head, like a guess.
For the layman, just like...
Yeah, for the power wall, how much do you think a unit like that would cost?
Nothing that we couldn't afford. I mean, if everyone came together as one unit, it's like, okay, well, if it was like widespread media, it got out to everyone and everything, everybody contribute like what? 50 cents and we can make it happen. If everyone was on board. But, that's not how it goes, and that's not how we operate, and the 1%ers are ruling the country and doing what they do. And controlling what we, as consumers, are able to purchase and just put in our house. So, it's up.
Yeah. So, check this out. Because they just came out with the new and improved Powerwall 2.0. It has twice the energy specs, bringing the newer model from 13.5 kilowatts per hour to 6.4 kilowatts an hour.
Oh, hold on. I got a question. You talking about the new 2.0, right?
Yeah, the new 2.0.
So, question. As far as raw materials for the construction of all this power that would essentially be free, right? You got the power wall in your house and these lithium ion batteries. How much material and what would we be sacrificing to build these 100 gigafactories?
That is definitely a good question. As far as the gigafactories go...
Wait, you're talking about how much it costs to build them? Because
No, not how much it costs.
No, the materials. The materials.
I mean, you said we won't leave a carbon footprint, right? Which is all good and gravy. But if we're building lithium-ion batteries and the waste of those versus the benefit of not having a carbon footprint, what is really going on?
From what I remember, Elon Musk is taking this into account, and the factories are built out of materials that would leave the smallest carbon footprint. Oh, so Sparks, Nevada, for you guys out there, is where the first
one, the Gigafactory one.
The Gigafactory one. That looks amazing, by the way. I'd love to tour that. But the entire idea behind the factory is the same idea that they have to building these batteries and Tesla motors and all that stuff and the solar panels is they want to achieve a net zero energy, and it's going to be powered by renewable energy sources itself, because the carbon footprint comes from this movie done by Leonardo DiCaprio that me and Kris have watched. I'm telling you, Joe, it's free on Amazon. I think you'd really enjoy it, and also because it's called Before the Flood. And towards the end is when the Elon Musk segment comes in, because it's all tied together, and he goes and talks to a bunch of different people, and it's about free energy and like so Sweden has become the first official fossil fuel free country in the world. They're completely not reliant on fossil fuels anymore.
So check this out. So we got a quote from Elon Musk. The other interesting thing is we wanted to manage the emissions from the gigafactory. Solar power can do some of that, but we took kind of a radical move in the beginning. We said we're not going to burn any fossil fuels in the factory, you know, zero emissions. We're going to build a zero emissions factory just like our cars. So instead of fighting this battle in hindsight, we just said we're not even going to have a natural gas pipeline coming into the factory, so we didn't even build it. And it kind of forced the issue. When you don't have natural gas, none of the engineers can say, oh, but it'll be more efficient. Let me just use a little bit. Sorry, we don't even have it. So he says, so it's been kind of a fun activity and a lot of challenges that have come up. But in every single step of the process, we've been able to reinvent and come up with solutions. There's a heat pump technology that actually ends up way more efficient than just burning natural gas for steam. And then we have a facility that has basically no emissions. The only emissions are related to the vehicles that might go there that aren't electric or things like that. So like vehicles that they drive to and from work. But we'll try to attack that one piece at a time. So yeah, carbon footprint zero, except for the emissions from the vehicles employees have to drive to work.
Elon Musk is attacking the whole building of the Gigafactory in such a way that anybody that would try to sit there and say this is not a practical idea,
full of shit,
does not have a leg to stand on. You just can't say anything because there's no negative, as far as I know, my amateur view on things. There's no negative to this thing. I'm pretty sure that it's such a big factory, but he went to Sparks, Nevada to build this. Everything about this project is coming across like they look at every angle and how they cannot cause any more damage to the earth at the same time by helping it and helping us, humanity. And again, this is one of the core things that we, want to talk about here on the Weird Couch. We might cuss and we joke and all that other stuff, but we're about humanity. Our brains are wired similarly to where we view things in a altruistic light, and that's a huge problem. And we'll get to altruism and things like that in another video. Long video. We'll get that into another video. But the idea that people are selfish and they're like, you know what, that's bigger than me. I'm gonna be dead before that even becomes a problem. It's not my problem. Whatever the case may be. Well, I'm busting my ass over here to take care of my day-to-day life. Is Elon Musk going to come in and pay my bills for me and, give me the $5,500 that I need to get a power wall in my house? No, I can't afford to pay $5,500 for a power wall, let alone pay whatever price it costs to get a Tesla car. And then they're going to bring up stupid shit like, oh, remember when the batteries were exploding in the Teslas? And it's like, you people are so small-minded. And I'm sorry, I'm literally calling you guys small-minded because you want to sit there and say, talk about, equality for gay people and getting married and, legalization of weed. And the argument is that that mentality that this is the way that it's been done, for so long. And to continue to do those things is wrong, and that's what you're using as your argument to take on these big ideas. All I'm saying is take that same mentality, no matter if you're poor or not, and bring that together with other people into a larger picture. Not just that affects your personal life, but that affects humanity as a whole.
So one more thing about the gigafactories. The first gigafactory was slated to open up next year. It's already open. They do take up between 500 and 1,000 acres of land to build, so there's a small issue there. However, 6,500 employees can be employed at each gigafactory. So if there are 100 gigafactories, that's 650,000 jobs. So that's something that should be considered as well. So anyhow.
There you go. We could probably talk about this for
all day.
Hours. Yeah, because it is. It's a larger topic than just Nikola Tesla and Elon Musk and the suppression of these things. So, any last thoughts, Joe?
I have many thoughts that bring along more questions that never bring me enough answers. No, that's
There
all.
you go. If you guys do have any more questions, shoot them over to Joe at his email. I'll put a link in the description below. And he will answer those questions over on the Weird Cap SciTech. Kris, what about you? Any last thoughts?
I don't know. Yes and no. I mean, lately, where my mind's been going is that it's becoming, as time passes, it's more and more evident that, information is power, knowledge is power, and the powers that be do what they can to try and limit how much information that we can have access to. The information we do have access to, we're simply allowed to have access to it. Same thing goes for things that we need that are necessity, like energy. The powers that be are they're oil giants, right? So anything along these lines that would help excel the rate of evolution for our species would help relieve the financial burden that energy puts on us. I don't think these are things that are desirable. So I just keep those things in mind. Always look at things with an open mind, or as my favorite comedian Bill Hicks used to say, squeegee your third eye.
And always remember,
that.
progress does not have to be a slow process. We make it that way.
That's it.
Very true. I like that. I like both the quote and that last statement is very good. So if you guys have any more interest, like I said, go check out the Weird Count SciTech. Also, a quick shout out to my buddy Cultus, my brother from down under, the Desert Experimenter. He's a great, wonderful guy, and he loves Nikola Tesla. Like that's his jam right there. And he has done a lot of science experiments to prove things that people still are like, well, that is not, that's not real, or that's not true. Like, and he's very knowledgeable. So I'm gonna put a link to his channel down below in the description. So go check him out. Huge shout out to you, Cultus. Thank you so much for befriending myself and just being an all-around good guy and sharing the information that you have shared with us. If you see anything in this video, please let us know, and so that we can correct it. Don't just take our word for it, right? We want you to trust us. We want you to come and watch our videos and just be enlightened and be exposed to new thoughts and ideas, really, about a wide range of subjects. But always, always question us, and always go find the information for yourself. Okay, don't just do a shallow Google search and find the first article that's put out by some unreputable source, or even a reputable source that possibly has an agenda behind it. Okay, do the digging. Basically, become a journalist and find the answers for yourself. Because the idea that a lot of us are comfortable with going through life being force-fed information and just accept it for what it is horrible. And we perpetuate that force-feeding when we repost things on Instagram and Facebook just because somebody else we know posted that same thing. Because we don't know what they're, the person who posted it might have just been posting it as a joke. Like, haha, I found this funny because it's wrong. But then you repost it as fact, like, oh, this is horrible. Not only does it make you look like an idiot, but it perpetuates that stupidity cycle. And what we want to do is stop that perpetuation. We want to start educating our friends, our families, our communities,
Our babies.
and our children, our babies. We want to educate them so that when they get to a point where they can actually affect change, they have the knowledge and understanding on how to do that, so that they don't grow up in a world where we're stifled. So, anyways, that's it for myself, Joe, and look at little Ethan Avery over there. EA all
Did we
day.
bore him? He's in there yawning. Did we just bore you, little man?
He was like, "No, Joe, we're good. High five."
EA all day.
Yeah. Again, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week here
Say
on
bye,
Fridays on the
Ethan.
Couch. Peace.